The DNC has its Me Too moment of truth. How are they going to handle it? Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America. Well, so I'm watching The Hill, and this interview comes up. I'm about to show you a clip of it. I will try to put the actual full interview in the description. I'm not supposed to direct you to other channels, but I do believe that this woman should be heard in the entirety of what she was saying. Her name is Tara Reade, and she is accusing Mr. Joe Biden of sexually assaulting her. Now, before we listen to her side of the story, this is the United States of America, and we do believe in innocent until proven guilty, etc. Here is what Mr. Biden stated on Twitter. In my many years in the campaign trail and in public life, I've offered countless handshakes, hugs, expressions of affection, support, and comfort. And not once, never, did I believe I acted inappropriately. If it is suggested I did so, I will listen respectfully, but it was never my intention. I may not recall these moments the same way, and I may be surprised at what I hear. But we have arrived at an important time when women feel they can and should relate their experiences, and men should pay attention, and I will. I will also remain the strongest advocate I can be for the rights of women. I will fight to build on the work I've done in my career to end violence against women and to ensure women are treated with the equality they deserve. I will continue to surround myself with trusted women advisors who challenge me to see different perspectives than my own. And I will continue to speak out on these vitally important issues where there is much more progress to be made in crucial fights that must be waged and won. So that is Mr. Biden's response to the accusations this morning. He never mentions Tara Reade, nor does he mention specifically that he did not do what he was accused of doing, which, as you're about to see, goes beyond hugging, handshakes, and expressions of affection, support, and comfort, is what he said. So what I want to do is, this is Miss Tara Reade saying her piece, and then we can talk about whether or not that matches what he described. So here's Tara Reade in her own words. Let's go.
The scheduler came in and said, Joe wants you to bring this to him, hurry. And it was his athletic bag. It's called a gym bag. And so I was carrying it. And this is where I want to be really frank with you and everyone. I have worked so hard to not remember this anymore that now that I've talked about it, I only shared it with a couple of people when it happened at the time. So there are spots where I just don't remember certain things, but I remember the assault itself and then the aftermath and the reverberating effect of that. And he said, here. And then when I gave him the gym bag, it happened all in one motion almost. And he had me against the wall. And then his hands were down my skirt and up my skirt, and I was wearing, I wasn't wearing tights or anything, and he then, with his hand, went from there, and entered me with his hand, and as he was trying to kiss me and saying things to me. So when I tell you what happened, it's hard because everything kind of happened at once, but there were incremental parts to it. Mm. And meaning he was trying to kiss me and I was pulling away. And what I remember of that time is feeling really shocked, surprised, because there was no real conversation right beforehand. There was no precursor. It just happened. And then when he did that, I was obviously pulling away. And he pulled back and said, come on, man, I heard you liked me. Something to that effect. And that's what kind of jolted me. Like I was trying to think what I did wrong to bring that on me. And then he looked angry and irritated with me. And that's when I knew it was really, I was in a very difficult position because he was my boss and he was like my dad did at the time. And I trusted him and looked up to him. And it was not like I disliked him. I liked him, but I just didn't like him in that way. And it was just shocking. It was shattering, actually. And he said to me when he pulled back, he pointed his finger at me and he said, "You're nothing to me. You're nothing."
Obviously, she's not nothing. I'm a Christian. I believe she's a image bearer of God. And she's crowned with glory and honor. That's what the Bible says. Look, man, I'm uncomfortable for a couple of reasons. Number one is the second half of the story, which is probably maybe worse than the first half of the story. I'm uncomfortable because she looks very believable to me. But Christine Blasey Ford also looked very believable to me. Unfortunately for her, the correlating testimonies were from people who admitted that they lied and admitted that they lied tactically to keep him out of the role of Supreme Court Justice. And so that then kind of washes the entire thing, right? These are situations that happened 20, 25 years ago. I don't personally believe there should be a statute of limitations on justice. And so I'm trying to be as measured as I possibly can. Now, everybody knows that I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. And I suppose I should be overjoyed at this type of news. But if this is true, I'm not certain it spells the end for Joe Biden. And secondly, if it's true, what it means is that this woman actually endured this horrific sexual assault, quite frankly. And I would not want that for her in reality. Now, of course, a person could say that the timing is convenient, but that's neither here nor there as to whether or not that has any value for the truth claim. Now, all of us have seen the numerous videos in which Mr. Biden has made numerous women and girls uncomfortable. We've all seen those videos. And I gotta tell you, I've always been kind of flabbergasted that he has been able, in the current Me Too environment, that this man has been able to get away with this stuff. There's been 9-10 debates, and to my knowledge, that question has never come up. And all of us have seen the videos, putting hands on the shoulders, kissing people, the girls moving out of the way, the women moving out of the way. Obviously, when you put that in the context of this discussion, she seems even more believable. Now, she went to Time's Up. Now, Time's Up, I don't know if you guys remember this at the Academy Awards. I think it was like last year. There was a big theme about Time's Up. It's basically a nonprofit that began receiving almost millions of dollars of donations, and these were people, these were law firms and other things that give publicity to the women who were trying to get justice for themselves after they've had to be silenced because of sexual assault. Okay, that's the Time's Up group, and here's what happened when Tara Reade went to Time's Up and said, "Will you represent me? Will you help me?" Initially, she was well received, and then this happened. By February, she learned from a new conversation with Time's Up, which also involved director Sharon Tajani, that no assistance could be provided because the person she was accusing, Biden, was a candidate for federal office, and assisting a case against him could jeopardize the organization's non-profit status. This, by the way, is The Intercept. Definitely a credible news outlet. On February 11, the NWLC program director wrote to Reade that she wanted to let you know that after our conversation, I talked further with our director, Sharon Tajani, about our ability to offer funding or public relations support in your case. Unfortunately, the fund's decision remains the same. Please know how much I appreciate your courage in speaking out and appreciate what you shared over the phone, that you are speaking out so that your daughter and other young people can start their careers free of harassment. Miss Reade used to be a aide for Mr. Biden, and then she has gone on to be a domestic violence counselor and advocate. So kudos to her. She, whatever happened in her fallout with Biden, she, it appears, has turned that into something positive. And whatever you believe about her, she should be commended for that. So let me get this straight. Time's Up is about going after men in power who use that power to leverage it so that they can sexually harass, assault women without any sort of recourse. And then they get a credible report from someone, and they say they cannot help her because Biden is running for office and it might jeopardize their nonprofit status. That's the argument. Does that bother you? This might bother you too. Same article. The public relations firm that works on behalf of the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund is SKD Knickerbocker, whose managing director, Anita Dunn, is the top advisor to Biden's presidential campaign. A spokesperson for the Biden declined to comment. The SKDK spokesperson assigned Time's Up referred questions back to the NWLC. So this particular case could not be pursued because Time's Up said that might interfere with our 501c3 status and it's going to destroy us, our ability to help the most women possible. And we're supposed to believe that Anita Dunn, who is the top advisor to Biden's presidential campaign, which is the Public Relations Fund, she's part of the Public Relations Department for Time's Up, that had nothing to do with their decision. Now again, just because I'm not a fan of Biden does not mean I'm just going to wholesale and say that he's guilty and all the rest of it. However, this is a problem. And the fact that Time's Up refused to help this woman is also a massive problem. We were told over and over again during the Mueller investigation, and believe you me, Mueller is going to become relevant whether you believe it or not. We were told over and over again, nobody's above the law. Wasn't that the big thing? Nobody's above the law? And here we go in this particular situation. Does this look like a lying woman to you? Like I said, we can't go on emotionalism. We got to go on facts and evidence. And I'm not very hopeful that this woman is going to get any form of justice at all. Because as it stands right now, CNN is, I can't find a single thing about this on CNN, nor can I find a single thing about this on Fox News. Now, at minimum, this tells me what we all already know, that these media outlets are in the bag with these political parties. Now, Fox News has a motive for not doing this, which is if this blows up, it might severely hurt Biden, and maybe Trump would rather go up against Biden, especially considering his last 3 public performances, which clearly indicate his mental decline is worsening. Ben, one of the folks I respect the most in our forum, speculated maybe the Fox News is holding on to it in case that Biden does survive into the general election, and then they're going to pound him with it. I wouldn't be surprised to see this lady marched out in the front row, just like Trump did with Hillary, with all the other folks that were accusing Bill of sexual assault. So I can see why Fox News wouldn't report on it, but CNN, MSNBC, to this point, I'm on the page right now, complete and total blackout. In both cases, the CNN, MSNBC, it is obvious why they wouldn't want something like this both blown up. And look, it doesn't even have to be front page because of the CV situation, but don't you think it should be at least at minimum the second most important story in the nation right now? Nothing at all. Do you guys remember what was happening at CNN and MSNBC when the Access Hollywood tapes came out, when Trump was bragging about Trump was bragging about doing what this young lady actually says Biden did. Remember that? Remember how it's blown up all over the place? And now we don't have Biden joking and laughing about it. We've got this young lady telling us that it happened to her. And we don't see anything about it at all on CNN or MSNBC. Let's see what's trending. Coronavirus, New York, self-employed, Crocs donation, Dyson ventilator, MLB opening day, trending. Herd of bison, Russian warships. Herd of bison. That's the trending thingamajiggy on CNN right now. Herd of bison. That's more important, that's more newsworthy than this discussion? Okay. All right. If you go back to listen to how he crafted this statement. I have offered countless handshakes, hugs, expressions of affection, support, and comfort. And not once, never did I believe I acted inappropriately. Do you see how that gives you the loophole to get out? Because according to her, after this encounter happened, he said, "What's wrong with you, man? I thought you liked me." Which means that when he did that action, he thought he was doing it to somebody that liked him. So technically, that first paragraph can still be true. Again, I'm just speculating because I am not saying that he automatically did this. I honestly, before God, I don't know. What I'm saying is, I'm very concerned about the way that this verbiage is crafted. I don't believe I acted inappropriately. Well, what you believe and what you did are not necessarily the same thing, Mr. Biden. It would have been great to hear, I categorically and completely deny all allegations that I did something like this. Because that's what I would say. I may not recall these moments the same way, and I may be surprised at what I hear. So this is setting up to basically be, I did it, but I thought you liked me. I mean, how else do you interpret this? Then we've got the situation with her refusing to be represented by the Time's Up people. And then you've got one of the folks that works for him, the top advisor to his presidential campaign. I'm going to read it again. The public relations firm that works on behalf of the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund is SKD Knickerbocker, whose managing director, Anita Dunn, is a top advisor to Biden's presidential campaign. You don't think there's a conflict of interest there that might have influenced why they didn't take her case? Now, what I'm about to tell you comes from the I Kid You Not files. This woman, a few years back, wrote something positive about Vladimir Putin in Russia. And yes, you already know where I'm going. Some of these folks in the machine are already trying to make some silly correlation between this and Russia. Here you go. This is Sean DTO Politics, whatever the guy's name is. Look, this guy is nobody as far as I can tell. But I just want you to see how far this stuff is going. Comrade Sanders is not going to magically become the nominee just because Berniacs like Caney Halper have decided to be useful idiots for a Russian asset like Tara Reade. Believe Tara is a cynical, dishonest use of Me Too, F Bernie, Never Sanders, Drop Out Bernie, Biden 2020. There we are. Russia again. This is unbelievable stuff. This is unbelievable stuff. These people only have, there's literally only one card that they have in the deck to play, and it's Russia, Russia, Russia. And honestly, it doesn't matter who you are or what has happened to you. If you do anything that might compromise our trek towards power, you are a Russian asset. Trump, Tulsi, Bernie, Tara, all of you. If you've ever said anything positive about Russia, that makes you a Russian asset. Now, to be fair, this lady deleted her post on Russia, and then, you know, it's the internet, so everything you put on the internet is evergreen, etc., etc. What do you guys think? Do you think she's a Russian asset? Do you think everybody's working for Vladimir Putin? She took her seat next to Trump, next to Tulsi, next to Bernie. They're all together. You know, I laugh at this Russia stuff, but in this particular situation, for obvious reasons, it's not funny to me. Again, this just props up the tragic hypocrisy of what's happening on the left. Now, when I say the left, I am talking about the elites in the Democratic Party, because every leftist I know is outraged by this situation. As a matter of fact, the most leftiest person I know, Ben, was the one that finally convinced me. You know, we had a poll on Middle America, was asking the girls what they thought of it, and Ben tipped me over the line, and he wrote a very brilliant, articulate email, some of the points of which I borrowed in this review. Everybody is outraged by this situation. I think everybody's also being very measured, and they're waiting for Mr. Biden to respond, and we're waiting for more details to be released. Be that as it may, I think all of us would rather see this trending on CNN than herd of bison. What do you think? Unbelievable stuff. To all the women who've ever been sexually assaulted at the workplace or otherwise, we stand with you. We love you. It is common for the assaulter to try to degrade, tell the person that they're nothing and they're worthless. I would just say that that is projection on their part. They obviously have something broken about them that they're trying to project onto you. Many of you have survived and have still found ways to be compassionate people, and still found ways to not be bitter and hateful and evil, in spite of the fact that you were violated in such a horrific manner. And so I genuinely tip my hat to you for that. Nothing but respect and love here. And I believe there's a God of justice, and I don't believe that anybody gets away with anything. Scripture says that God will by no means leave the guilty unpunished. And so there's that. Much love to everybody. Love your neighbor. Take care of each other. Middle America, we are the media. Until next time, guys.